Monster Shop. Happy Christmas.
It is. It's Christmas, isn't it?
Oh my God, let me fix that mic for you.
I know it's going to fall over. Do the thing for me. I don't want it up there.
Where do you want
That's it. That'll do. Yeah. Do you know how I know it's Christmas? Because you told me to be here at a certain time, and I was here, and you weren't here.
Yeah.
And I was stuck outside, so I thought, I know, I'll go to Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
And that's how I know it's Christmas.
Because Sainsbury's is Christmas.
Honestly, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like going into battle with like a load of grannies. They're all there with the sprouts, and they're in a line, and they use their shopping trolleys like weapons.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I've got like 10 minutes. I know. I need some razors for shaving.
Yeah.
I thought I'll pop in.
Yeah.
Pop in and get, because popping's the thing that you do.
Yeah.
In I pop.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, I'm still fighting my way out, trying to go. I thought I only wanted razors. Should have got them off Amazon. If Amazon want to sponsor us, by the way, that would be great.
Yeah. Send us razors or Gillette. Harry's do a lot of podcasts.
Harry's, they're dead good. And there was a girl called Jeanette when I was at school, and she was called Jeanette, the best a man can get for like
of
10 years.
She was.
That's because that's what you did when you were kids at school.
That's amazing.
I'm really sorry, Jeanette.
Just in terms of my timekeeping, what I would normally do is
your timekeeping's legendary.
What I'd do is I'd wait until like bearing in mind I know the library's probably 10 minutes away from the house where we got our studio.
Yeah.
So I'll come and I'll give it. I'd be like, I don't know, push it a little bit, and then
obviously,
and then leave it, and then I'd just be a couple of minutes late.
Yeah.
And then that's that. But today, I just wasn't moving. It just wasn't happening. It was 15 minutes after the time where we said we'd meet. And I just wasn't moving. And I thought, wow, he'll ring me when he gets there.
It's the mental thing, isn't it? It's like they think, it's like, oh, I just can't. I do that with work sometimes.
Yeah.
My boss will probably listen to this, but there will be something that I've got to get done.
Yeah.
And if it's not,
and it takes seconds, doesn't it?
If it's not got a date on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
I'm like,
done,
I'll do that. But as soon as I put a date on it, I'll do it weeks ahead.
Yeah.
Like, if I say, I've got to get this done by February the 1st.
Yeah.
I'll do it in December. But the same thing without a deadline.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'll do it in February the 1st on the morning. That's how I'm going to roll with that. Anyway, this week we're doing Faster Pussycat. Do you know why we're doing Faster Pussycat?
Because we listened to some feedback.
Because I wanted to do the Goo Goo Dolls Superstock Car Wash.
What's happening is on these shows that we do, at the end of the show, what we do is we announce the next week.
We do.
I don't think we've done it for about 4 weeks. I don't think we've actually followed the instructions that we set ourselves.
4 weeks is, I'd be probably good. No,
but this was 2 weeks ago. All we did is have one in the middle. So we did say Faster Pussycat 2 weeks ago.
I'm sure our listeners are probably used to it by now.
Time doesn't matter anyway.
It's an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so.
Yes.
It's from the Hitchhiker's Guide, and I love the Hitchhiker's Guide. If anybody's stuck wondering what to do this Christmas and you want to get rid of your... just put the Hitchhiker's Guide on. Lock yourself in a room.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Because you did a poll, didn't you? You did a poll for those
I did a
records.
poll on X, and because I really wanted to do the Goo Goo Dolls Superstar Car Wash.
Yeah.
And... There are 3 albums that actually...
We'll probably do that next week.
There are 3 albums I really want to do.
Yeah.
There is Superstar Car Wash.
Yeah.
There's this one from Faster Pussycat.
Yeah.
And then there is Love Hate.
Okay.
Wasted in America.
Yeah.
I want to do all 3 of those.
Yeah.
This one, Faster Pussycat and Love Hate, they're both LA bands, both in the scene at the same time. Love Hate were a little bit later, but they were both part of this kind of scene, and obviously then the Goo Goo Dolls as well. And I thought, everyone's bound to vote for the Goo Goo Dolls, so I put the poll in there.
Yeah.
And everyone voted for Faster Pussycat. Which, to be fair, I don't mind. I just love this album.
Yeah.
There's something so honest. About this. Some bands do records, especially like a lot of these bands did records in the mid-90s that were really bad.
Yeah.
A lot of the metal bands did like awful things during that grunge and nu metal era.
Yeah.
Like, because they got kind of kicked in the nuts by grunge.
Yeah.
And then they got kicked in the nuts by nu metal.
Yeah.
So after like a decade of being irrelevant, they started to do stupid stuff. And a lot of those albums to me just don't sound authentic. You know what I mean? They just there's no this one.
Yeah.
I think the Love Hate record as well. And there's a lot of these records that came out about this time from LA. they're just kids having a blast, and there's nothing in there. There's no points as there any pretense that they're not. That's what they are, and I don't know. For me, that's what makes them like super special. There wasn't a record company exec going, "Oh, you should do that in E."
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's just kids going absolutely bonkers,
which is interesting because. We're talking about Appetite, aren't we? The similar sort of era of that sort of thing. That was a little bit earlier.
Only a year or so.
Yeah,
but they all knew each other.
This is the thing, isn't it? But that skied it. That was stratospheric. That almost like brought the world to
put the LA scene. And it absolutely like lit a match under this lot. And the LA scene was just enormous. I was doing some reading about like the LA scene itself and kind of the bands that were there, but you've got like so it was Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Rat, Poison, Wasp, and then LA Guns. Interestingly, so you got LA Guns. Obviously, Tracy Guns co-founded Guns N' Roses with Axl Rose. And then you got Hanoi Rocks, Jet Boy, Bang Tango, Love Hate. You've got Steel Panther as well. Steel Panther is like a parody of that scene.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That whole LA scene. But the music that came out of that scene was just phenomenal. It was some of the best guitar playing. I mean, it was all guitar focused. The melodies and the hooks, it was all like super commercial, super polished, all over the radio. You had like Ricky Rackman on MTV, a Headbangers Ball, like in the middle of it all, just, it was I don't know, just such a golden era for that.
Yes,
for that type of metal, that type of music.
And I think when you were talking about putting this show together, one of the things you said was actually there's not a huge amount on the record itself, so like the making of and all that, because they just went to the studio and captured the essence of the scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what there is a lot of is the scene, and I think there's just a couple of things we'll probably bring in is the Cat House, because there's a song on the record about that. And there's a great piece that you found, which is basically interviews with people about the Cat House, which is like the club that one of the guys owned with Ricky from.
So Tammy Down and Ricky Rackman were roommates. Because they were dead poor. I mean, I suppose they made some cash after a while, but they were dead poor when this stuff was big, when they were recording this stuff. And then, they started the Cat House, and that's that's kind of something that they did together. So Pussycat, like. Tammy Down co-owned it, so they would be always playing there. But Guns N' Roses played there as well. Motley Crue would play in there as well.
Does this still exist, Cat? Is that still a thing?
So. I don't know. It's interesting. And Ricky Rackman had a podcast, something to do with the Cat House, where he talked about. It's really, if you're into that kind of, you can find it on YouTube. He was talking about some of the stories from back in the 80s. And Ricky Rackman can tell a story. He's a really cool guy.
Well, should we start there then? Should we play the interview about the scene and the Cat House and what's going on?
We can play Cat House as well.
And then play Cat House.
Let's do that.
All right.
So why do you guys come to Cat House?
Fucking rocks, bitches.
Rock and roll, heavy metal.
Party, drink.
Fucking Faster Pussycat, Guns N' Roses, LA.
It's what American rock and roll is all about. You want to know what rock and roll is about, come to the Cat House, because rock and roll is about a lot more than just music.
It's more than music, it's just an attitude,
Me and my roommate needed a place where we could have a party and not worry about the neighbors, and getting free drinks, and a place where we can meet strippers.
So could you call this place a pickup joint?
Definitely. That's one of the main reasons it was opened up.
Who do you think I found his ass, huh? Cat House.
Describe some of the girls that come in here.
I like the girls that come here. A lot of blonde girls come here. A lot of girls that look like they come out of Russ Meyer's films. They don't wear much clothes at the Cat House. We have this policy of never really keeping the air conditioning on, so it gets really hot. So it's like they show a lot of flesh here.
I mean, I've seen girls walking around in garter belts and bras.
I know, I like that. Somebody came here once from Texas and they go, I don't believe it. In Texas, we wear our lingerie in the bedroom. In the Cat House, they wear them out in the club. If you want to come here dressed really nice, that's okay, but you'll get in the club faster if you dress sleazy.
So who else comes here?
Aerosmith, Motley Crue, Faster Pussycat, of course. Kiss has been here a couple times. David Lee Roth was here last week.
So what'd you guys do to get signed? Like flyers?
Flyers. We plastered them on their cars, plastered them on their homes, stuffed them in their face. They threw them down, we pick them up.
Yeah, it sucks. You give it to people and they throw them down.
Then you beat them up.
Yeah, then you kick their ass.
What else did you do to try to get signed?
We tried to get Brett to blow the A&R department at Electra, but it didn't work.
So why are there so many like sexual references in your songs?
Because Tammy is a sexual monster.
He's a dynamo.
He is a sexual dynamo.
I'm a love machine.
So how come you guys are so obsessed with sex?
Because we're young.
We used to be obsessed with money, but we never got any, so we had to like
Give
find
up on
something
that.
else.
What about drugs? You use drugs?
No.
Alcohol.
Aspirin.
Aspirin,
Like that vitamin C.
Advil.
So what makes your band different than the rest of the bands around? Tell me that.
We have very large penises.
Then we don't wipe our butts, so it smells bad.
So why are you in rock and roll?
I'm just doing this till I can be like a manager at McDonald's or something.
I'm just purely lazy. That's why I do it.
Are you making a lot of money?
No.
People on the road like go, give me your scarf, give me your hat.
People think they made money. Give me your jewelry.
We get 1,000 a night a show. On average, we probably play 4 shows a week. Costs us $2,500 to be on the road.
So at this point, it's-
You don't make any money. We just go
make
in
any
debt.
money.
You just, not until we're new.
You just got back from a European tour. What was that like?
I was in a room with Tammy, and the rooms in Europe are really small, so the
like
beds
a
right next to
closet.
each other. And all the girls that he bring in, like, had
Fuzzy stuff,
braid
man.
fucking hairy arms.
More
and
than
shit.
me.
And they like hit me in the nose and while I was trying to sleep. It was really
You
cool.
mean he brings
It's-
girls in the room and has sex when you're in the room?
We only got 3 rooms. We got to shit.
Let's go on, cross the tracks where a pussy ain't no flying. Rev up my Chevy, I'm gonna pay the belay. Need a lickety split, I like that taste. I push ahead and I fall behind. I took a good time, but just wanna stay. Just got back from the best cat house in town. It had the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right by now. Let's go to the house where business is a pleasure. But version isn't a version, I don't go away. I'm a hard act to swallow, and she's my buried treasure. It'll be a long, long time before I'm on my way. Just got back from the best cat house in town. And had the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right by now. I won't get a moving. Got some machete hitting down the way. Say, Josh got, give me about the same Josh got back. Yeah, the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right about now. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town. It had the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right about now. And I'm
Don't you love the fade out?
Ooh, fade. Do you know something I really like?
There was a cowbell on that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a click track.
Oh, well, the cowbells do sound like click tracks.
Yeah.
That's why they're brilliant. Someone should just do that with it. Just put out a click track. What was I going to say? I was going to talk about the tone of that
guitar.
Yeah, the guitar tone. Just for me, that is the opinion. There are like styles of music, right? And there are kind of standards in that. That sound, the sound of this album is just that kind of sleazy LA scene for me. It's that just the most incredible guitar tone, and it's kind of lazy and just sharp. I absolutely adore this album for that. The songwriting's excellent. Songs are mostly written by Tame Me Down, but the tone from it is. I love the bass tone in it. I love I don't know how compressed it is. I don't think it's very compressed. This album doesn't sound it. No. But I just love the space in there, and it's just this kind of like winding guitars rolling out. It's brilliant.
When I had a go through it, this album fit like a glove, like a stepping stone between glam and hair metal for me. It's right and smack bang in the middle. It's like if you crossed like AC/DC with Guns N' Roses, and like this is somewhere in the middle.
Well,
of that.
if you think about it, so and I think you're right, because this is kind of bluesy, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite bluesy sounding. Yeah. But you're not into, like, Def Leppard did Hysteria in '87.
Yeah.
Uber polished.
Yeah.
They played the same parts like 20 times to get them perfect, right? I reckon some of this was done in
hit
one
record,
take.
bang,
yeah,
gone,
done, and it was just organic and authentic, and it just sounds like rock and roll.
So it's quite punk, innit? It's quite rock.
Yeah,
that's really interesting, because a lot of the other records that are this sort of era don't sound like raucous.
Some do though. So so you've got
you've got Appetite, you've got
Appetite
this, you've got the Rats, you've got this sort of stuff. Yeah, I get it. Like this scene, the LA scene. These guys doing this, but the other stuff was from the other side, wasn't it?
Whitesnake weren't, Def Leppard weren't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you had there's just a bunch of others that were like uber polished. There's a few others as well that I think were really like Danger. Yeah, they were kind of like in and around this hair scene, but their stuff was a bit more polished and like beautiful sounding. Do you know what I mean? Their stuff sounded. I don't know. The difference for me is like I can imagine going home, grabbing a guitar, plugging it in, and making that sound and being able. Do you know what I mean? Being able to play that song. Yeah. I can't imagine that for anything off Hysteria.
No. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, as somebody that doesn't, like, I'm not a musician, right? But I like AC/DC does that to me as well. Well, I feel like my ears can understand I can understand the riff. I can hear the melody. I could go and watch YouTube, and within like 7 weeks I could learn. But you know what I mean? Are you
knowing you, mate, you'd have it in half an hour.
You just, but it feels like something you can nail, because it's just there. It's authentic. It just sounds like just, I don't know, really, really cool. But the Uber produced stuff, it's like so polished. You kind of think, I just couldn't do that. I couldn't play like Andy Timmons from Dangerous, another incredible guitar player. Yeah. But super polished.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could. I couldn't play that as well as him, but I do think I could play Faster Pussycat.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of that's what that scene was about. It was like you say, that punk.
It is punk, but they can play. It's like punk
with melody and
you have that thing in your head of the punk being like 3 chords or 4 chords and a bit like raucous and that. But it's the punk energy. There's like an energy and ethos to it.
The attitude is there. Yeah. It's phenomenal. I was reading, so the tone is Gibson Les Pauls, JCM 800s, and the Boss DS1 distortion pedals.
The holy grail of 80s rock sound. That,
but it is just bright. Yeah, it's just bright. But you get the feeling. I mean, I think there was layers. I think there was probably layers of that in the mix. And they were probably playing it, 3 or 4 times, right, to get that kind of thick mix to it. But I don't imagine that somebody. I don't think you had like a Mutt Lange or a Bob Rock going, you'd sit, no, that that wasn't, the intonation wasn't quite right there. I think, they were just turning up, they were probably drunk and just smashed it out, and we're just having a great time while they were doing it. And I think the energy of that comes, so that's kind of what I think was empowering to me about this scene. It was the energy, and they were having such a good time. Yeah. I don't think Def Leppard were having a good time with Mutt, right? I think he was just
pushing them hard.
Yeah, I think he had like I don't know, just some kind of torture device, and he was like, just no more, and they were all crying, and Mutt was screaming. you know what I mean? That's what I imagine. And then like it would be like it'd be like Joe going, "Oh, can I have a cup of tea now, please?" And he would, no, you can't have a cup of tea. You know what I mean? Whereas I think the LA scene was just more. Do you know what I mean? Just,
yeah.
Just bonkers. They would turn up. They would be on Harleys. In my mind, they'd be on Harleys. Something would be on fire. There'd be strippers. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how I imagined it was recorded. And the engineers didn't really know what was going. I'm sure it actually was probably quite professional, but in my mind, that's what was happening in there. Just fire and strippers and
Harleys.
And Harleys, yeah.
Yeah.
That the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh, what should we do next?
I think let's hear that. Let's hear that scene in audio form, because we've got a couple of interviews that describe
from
it.
the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
We got signed after 10 months, so I wasn't here that long. But it was a zoo, and it was so much fun. We were just riding down the road, coming here to do this, and just driving by a place me and Ricky used to live. And it's just was where I was a kid, like 19, and just titties and getting into the bars before I'm 21. It was fun. It was cool. It was just chaos and absolute, chaos, but magical, very magical. We only been together 10 months before we got signed, and all the guys in Guns N' Roses and stuff were, kind of on our team helping us. That Izzy would come down to our shows all the time, and just us being able to go out on the road with them on our first run to Europe, to England and Germany and Holland was really cool. It was just, we were Worldwide Tower Records, and it was like, I remember going in there and buying our Guns N' Roses first record the day it came out. They had already gotten signed, and we were just starting, and Izzy would come up on stage with us just about every other gig, playing with us. They were like our buddies and helped us along. They were one introduced us to Vicky and stuff, and they brought us to England when our albums came out and stuff. They're still our friends, so they were, definitely compadres, so GNR helped us out a lot.
I think that's it. They were kind of in each other's pockets a bit, weren't they, all these bands?
Yeah.
But there was a scene, there was a thing going on, there was an explosion, there was activity, and it seemed like they were all in it together.
I think you're right. I think like one band like does well, and then that pulls everyone else through, and it drives, like puts kind of, it pours fuel on the fire, right? So stuff's happening. The same thing happened in like Birmingham with like Napalm Death and a bunch of other bands that kind of were in that extreme metal scene. I think Cathedral were down there and a bunch of others. So you get these like pockets of activity, don't you? I mean, obviously Seattle was another great example of that. And then you had the UK with like the new wave of British heavy metal. You've got the Swedish death stuff. And I think over the next year or two, we'll dive into like more. I quite like doing like a run of these albums. You know what I mean? Like because we did a bunch of stuff on Seattle, didn't we? We did Nevermind, and we did Dirt. We probably
not by design though. Just that's just sort of the way it came through. But
I think it's quite cool to almost pick on a scene, and then we'll just run a few albums. I think that's probably how we'll do the next year, because I've really enjoyed.
Is that a plan?
No,
you did the P word, mate. I'll give you a week, and then you'll change that.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, though.
It would work, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think. Because
Stephen Wilson's already nicked this idea.
Oh, so. Stephen bloody Wilson. Hey, listen, if you like albums, Stephen Wilson's got an albums podcast that's exactly like ours, but not as good. Actually, it's in his attic, and it's all nice, isn't it? He has a cup of tea, and it's all really produced, and just.
Oh no, he does it properly.
Hate Stephen Wilson.
Yeah. He's like the Def Leppard. He's doing it properly.
He is. Yeah.
We're like
Guns N'
Faster
Roses.
Pussycat.
Yeah. We're kind of a bit raucous.
We don't know what we're doing.
No.
We just hit record.
No idea what we're doing. We never have had any idea what we're doing, but we do it anyway. And that is what it's all about, isn't it? It's worth pointing out actually that the show itself, like we kind of changed formats in the summer after Spotify. The old format we used to have, they kind of killed.
Full on kill. You were very angry.
I had a strop.
Yeah.
I did have a big strop. But then we kind of came up with the idea for this show.
Yeah, from crisis comes beauty.
But like this format is getting like 5 times more.
people love it, don't they? Yeah,
and,
really
and the socials are getting interesting. People are commenting, and it's it seems to be going from strength to strength.
So Spotify actually did us a favour.
Yeah. I still don't like them. But I think it's that thing, isn't it? It's that and I do wonder if we change the description of the show a little bit, but it is this kind of love of albums.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. For me, that's what it is. As we've gone back and looked at this, it's not about a particular scene or time necessarily. It's about that era when albums were great. You know? And we talked about Def Leppard, $4.5 million poured into an album. We talked about Queen, again, like millions going into the production of an album. And I think that's just not a thing anymore.
No.
And it probably isn't ever going to be.
It's funny, I was having this conversation earlier through WhatsApp message.
Oh.
And exactly that. It's not going back.
No, I don't think so.
Which is sad. And I think that's why we probably, and Stephen and all the other people that are doing album shows.
Bloody Wilson.
Rick Beato probably is going to do one as well.
I hate him as well. All stolen our ideas. No, they're all great. Stephen Wilson's brilliant. I love Stephen Wilson's Porcupine Tree, for those that are not familiar. He's awesome. We do love him.
I was on the radio in Burton the other morning, which
on the Snoozy Breakfast Show. Did you go on the Snoozy Breakfast Show?
Yeah, and
that's not you. You're not a morning person, are you?
No,
How did that work?
It was okay. I had someone with me who was.
That's excellent.
But where was I going then?
You were talking about albums.
Stephen Wilson. Oh, I talked about Stephen Wilson.
Yeah,
quite a lot, and played his song.
Which one?
The end of. Oh my God, it's gone out of my brain.
Has it?
Drive Home.
Oh,
the guitar solo.
He's lovely. His album. We're
doing so well today.
Yeah, we are. Do you know, I can picture the album. And it's got the sun one. The sun one.
Yeah.
The grey one with the sun and the orange in the middle. What's it called? Something Sun.
Yeah, Sun. Stephen Wilson's son.
God.
Stephen Wilson's son.
How can I not? I've been talking about that this week.
Yeah.
Just useless.
That's all right.
Lighthouse, Light Something Sun.
They can just write to us. The people that are listening. Yeah. Just let us know.
Yeah, P.O. Box. I've completely forgotten where we are with this album. Do you know?
You were talking about how everything's growing, the socials and the listenings.
Oh yes, I was. I think there is a resurgence in that. People are buying albums.
Yeah.
Again, people are buying vinyl albums again.
People like you,
like me. I do love buying. Do you know what I bought this week?
Well, what have you got?
On eBay.
And
I bought because that's where you get the best deals.
Yeah.
Well, you can get good deals everywhere. But I bought first pressing of Skid Row's debut.
Oh, cool!
For £20.
Skid Row.
Wow. Which is lovely. It's perfect as well. Even in a. Do you know the big difference between the original for the first pressings from the 80s and if you compare that to like the Metallica represses,
right?
They've bought their own pressing studio.
Right,
Metallica
yeah.
The Metallica one, the repressed stuff is like you could kill somebody with it. It's heavy, and it's weighty, and you pick the disc up, and it won't bend. It's rock solid.
Yeah,
you pick up like those original vinyls from the 80s, and they're like flop. Do you know what I mean? They're so thin.
Wow.
And the cardboard is so like pathetic.
Yeah.
I know they're like 40 years old, I suppose, but yeah, anyway, I got that, and I got Love Hate Wasted in America.
Nice.
Another 20 quidder. So I'm dead excited about it. I've not played either, so they're probably crappy and will sound awful, but they just love, they smell nice. They're just very lovely.
Where do you think they've been?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Obviously. I don't know. I bet they've seen some things.
Yeah.
I bet those records have been on some shelves and seen some things.
I think one of the things that like the scene was there, everyone was having fun and all that.
Yeah.
And then I think it became hard work.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think the sense that like, we've got to actually try now.
So if you think about it, I the way I think about this is that the classic rock.
Yeah.
What would have been known as classic rock and Nwabum had been around before this, right?
Yeah.
So these were kind of, the band like the Judas Priests and the Iron Maidens. Do you know what I mean? They're there.
Yeah.
And then this took over from
Yeah.
Right. And I think when a scene is in its like infancy, it's cool. It's dead exciting. Yeah. And you all you've got to do is you turn up with your Gibson, rev it, and off you go. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you were in LA, and you looked cool and you had the right, you know what I mean? I think that's it. You were famous.
Yeah.
That's the way it felt, right? But then as the scene develops, there are these other bands that come through who can probably play a bit better.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? And it's attracting like more people to come in, and you got to work a bit harder to get, do you know what makes sense?
Yeah, total sense.
And I'm that absolutely happened here.
Yeah. Well, we've got this interview here where they're talking about it. Can I just talk about the AI?
Talk about AI, because you've been impressed with your AI, haven't you, this week?
I did a thing where I was given some audio that wasn't very good.
I stole it off YouTube.
And it was all like background noise and sounded fuzzy and all that sort of stuff.
It did sound awful.
And then there's this new Adobe thing where you upload it and it cleans it for you. And then it gives it you back.
Yeah.
And it sounds loads better.
It sounds incredible.
It's unbelievable.
The version I gave you was almost intelligible.
Yeah.
You could tell people were speaking, but there was tons of background noise and it just sounded awful, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then the version that you've got on here just is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
So if anyone would like to know how to do that, more than happy to share.
While we're talking about that, I was horrified to see that Spotify, as part of their Wrapped thing, did a partnership with Google.
Yeah.
And they will create you a podcast talking about your music listening for the year.
Really?
And it's just two AIs chatting over what music you've listened to over the year.
That's really weird, isn't it?
No,
that's not right.
No, I don't like that.
No.
I like AI.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it doing that.
Right, let's put this thing on.
People think, because we haven't been out, we haven't had a record out in like 2 years, that we just been sitting around waiting for things to happen. Where we've gotten so much better just in practice. We've been in a rehearsal studio 5 to 6 days a week since we stopped touring on the last record, and just going through all the problems that we've went through, and just made us better too in dealing with other things, like reality. It's fun. You get it. It's your last chance to try something. See how it works. See how it works with the audience, what the audience response is. Sometimes it's good not to, because then they can say, well, I never heard that sound before.
Yeah. If they start throwing cups and beers at you and spitting on you, that maybe you got a hit,
LA's got a good reputation too for bands. So it's like, not being known as an LA band is nothing but good, as far as I'm concerned. Our image is just what we choose to wear, the way we present ourselves. Music is what we're all about. That's us. That's the action. That's the goods. That's what you get. So when you get bands that are all image and not music, they don't last too long. House of Pain, which is going to be the next single off the record, it was written about growing up with a dad and not being around and kind of neglected. And to make something like that right, just lyrically, takes a long time. It took me 2 years. And like the other ballad, Please Dear, it's about an ex-girlfriend of mine that got killed in that car accident. And writing a song like that takes a lot of time. She didn't hear it, but her friends and everybody that knew her, that's who I wrote it for. So they can have something to remember her by. With the Rodney Dangerfields of rock and roll, we get no respect. We'll get our respect in due time. People realize, people see who lasts. There's a lot of good bands out there, and there's room for everybody. We'll get our respect eventually.
Every dog has their day.
you wanted to talk about the producer.
Oh, I did.
Because that was you said that was the best song ever that's ever been recorded. Bathroom Wall.
Bathroom Wall, so good. But
you said that about a few songs though.
And albums, yeah. I should have a tattoo of this, shouldn't I? I love Bathroom. So Bathroom Wall for me, it just epitomizes the whole album.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't their biggest single ever, but for me that just is Faster Pussycat, and it's that kind of rolling guitar, the rolling lead work over the top of it, the kind of there's the melody running like a da-da-da, and then it's got the kind of lead work running over the top of it.
Yeah,
and I just think it's epic. I absolutely love it. Album was produced by Rick Browd in California. It was released on July 7th, 1987.
Yeah.
36 minutes, 13 seconds long.
Yeah.
As all good albums should be.
I like the hour ones.
See, I like to trim the fat off it. I get the feeling that, there was that was just what there was nothing left on the cutting room floor.
No,
do you know what I mean? There wasn't
a
bunch, I know, these are there's 10 songs.
Yeah.
They're all like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
They were signed by Elektra. Loads of bands were on Elektra at the time.
From that era, from that
scene.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. The other things I wanted to mention was that Rock Hard magazine listed it in the 500 greatest rock and metal albums. Kerrang have got it listed in the top metal albums of the time. I think Rolling Stone have got it listed. Didn't sell any copies. I'm trying to look. It was so poor. I couldn't even find like a reliable sales data, but I don't think it sold particularly well. And they were out on tour with Guns N' Roses. They were out on tour with Motley Crue.
Yeah. So that's got to have an impact on you as a band. If you're seeing all these other guys around you absolutely hit the stratosphere.
Slamming it, I think it was almost because if you think about it, they were out with, like Motley Crue were kind of out sleazing them.
Yeah.
And I think Appetite appealed to a broader audience.
Yeah, some pop songs on it.
A slightly broader audience. But it's the fan base of this is just... It's phenomenal. If we came on here and said this was average, people would hunt us down and kill us. It's that kind of album. It's not an album. You don't like
if you're in, you're in. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah,
if you get it, you get it.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of not a bit of a fan of Faster Pussycat, and it's one of those. They were very hidden as well. I don't think they were like I've got the original CD of this,
right?
And I remember what you couldn't buy it in the record. I had to order it, so I remember going into the local record store where we used to get our stuff from. Yeah. And I really wanted it was Bathroom Wall. That's the single that I'd heard.
Yeah.
And I desperately wanted it. I was like just not very old at the time. I would have been like 14, 15. So classic lunchtime, jumped over the school wall, ran down to the record store. I want this. Can you get it for me? And Martin in Ashby was like, dude, I've never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about. And he ordered it for me. It took like 2 weeks, and then eventually it kind of came through. But it wasn't the kind of thing. It wasn't like stacked in the shelves like a lot of the others were. So I kind of think that they were up against it a little bit from that, and also, they like the scene at the time was big. Yeah, if you were stacking like those kind of bands on your shelves. It was just a lot. The Cinderellas and the Poisons and and Wasp were there and Rat were there, and it was pretty congested. So I loved Faster Pussycat, but I always felt that they were kind of a little bit underrated. They were never quite given the credit that they deserved. Band members, Tay Me Down, lead vocals, Greg Steele, guitar and backing vocals, Brent Muscat, guitar and backing vocals, Eric Stacey is on bass guitar. There's some lovely bass guitar work on this. And I love how they give it space to breathe. Yeah. You picked up on this really early, but that punk vibe and ethos, you've got a lot of that kind of rumbling bass where there's nothing else happening.
I think it's the rhythm section that does that. The rhythm section does that, and then the guitar provides the rock and roll.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then you had Mark Michaels, who was on drums. It was funded by Elektra, but the budget was tiny apparently for this.
But you don't want it. This didn't want to be a big budget.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine being in the studio for like months? It would just be chaos. Rick Browd, the production, he did a whole bunch of stuff. Notably, Poison, he worked on Look What the Cat Dragged In, which was pretty cool. It did chart. it charted at number 97 on the Billboard 200 in the US. As I read about it, lots of people have been talking, looking back on this, that it was a better album than the chart positions and the sales gave it credit for.
Really?
And it was the competition. There was just so much competition at the time. It was huge.
And I think that theme actually becomes bigger, doesn't it? Because we're not just talking about the competition with other bands within that area. We're talking about the competition with grunge, the competition with the next evolution of music that's coming through. Yeah, because it evolved,
didn't it? And so at the time, you had, that year, Appetite for Destruction came out.
Yeah.
Girls, Girls, Girls came out. Permanent Vacation came out, and Anthrax did Among the Living. Yeah. So that was on the East Coast. So Anthrax were on in kind of New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, phenomenal. Even with like the coverage on Headbangers Ball and Ricky Rackman and all of that stuff, they were still like struggling to compete with the other bands that were there. Were just absolutely huge. Touring, they were out on tour everywhere, North America and Europe. They were touring with Alice Cooper and Guns N' Roses. They were out doing the thing. They were out doing all the things that they should have done. As I was doing the blog for this, it launched into my face hole that the influences from them in bands like Buck Cherry.
Yeah.
Like there's no way Buck Cherry would have existed without this kind of. It's probably more from the scene as than Faster Pussycat in total. But they're like Buck Cherry just kind of took what Faster Pussycat were doing and then just like stood on top of the shoulders, right, and did this thing a bit bigger. The name for the album came from a 1965 film, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, which was a B-rated porno movie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
right.
Which I think it's a bit bonkers, which I quite liked. They were also in the rockumentary. We played a clip, and we're going to play a clip, The Decline of the Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years. That is just, if anyone's not, I can't imagine anyone that listens to this show hasn't watched that yet, but do a YouTube, find The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2. It's just phenomenal. Absolutely. It's that and Spinal Tap for me. They so roll together as being like what's real and what isn't real. It's just epic. There's stuff in there from so there's like Razzle from Hanoi Rocks in there. And you had Faster Pussycat, you had Guns N' Roses boys. The LA scene was this kind of big. That's kind of what it was. By Poison were in there. Trying to think who else was in there. Kiss were in there. You had that the Wasp guitarist Chris is in there in his mum's swimming pool, pouring vodka over his head. Ozzy Osbourne making breakfast. It's
That's a great scene.
It's just epic. There's not 60 seconds in that whole documentary which doesn't have your face like on the floor. It's just unreal. I couldn't find any usage of this album in media and TV, which again, really weird. Again, the critical reviews, people were pretty critical. But again, I think it's an album that people reflect more positively on now than they did at the time. And I think at the time, it was, it's not as good as Appetite. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff where it was competing. Whereas when you look back on it, you realise how good
it's a very slightly different animal to me.
It is.
It's not quite the same thing.
Don't think it was appreciated quite as... quite as well as quite as much as it should have been, if I'm honest. I wanted to also talk about what happened after the band, so we can talk a little bit about because they were formed in 85. This came out in 87, and then like the peak popularity would have been like 90-ish, 1991, and then 92 they released Whipped. Elektra dropped them not long after that,
right?
But that was like grunge was Nirvana had appeared.
We've had our time.
And the Clash, like the Iron Maidens were, if you think like 1985, that was Iron Maiden, where they owned that thing, that kind of early 80s to then the LA scene and glam
just dominated.
That just dominated for 5 years, from 87 to 92, probably just phenomenal. And then you had like 92 through to what?
Sorry, Just hit the mic.
Oh, so you're like 92 through to what, 97?
Yeah.
When did Korn do
Yeah,
new metal?
yeah.
But then you had that, then new metal, and you had like Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park, and then Slipknot and all of that stuff kind of came through, which kind of crushed grunge.
Yeah.
And there are these waves of things that are happening in the music industry. And it's, I don't know, I just think it's really interesting that, you know, for no fault of their own, like of any of these bands, they were doing awesome stuff. You know, the albums that were coming out in 91 and 92 were just as good as the stuff that was coming out in 87.
Yeah.
But you know, I was looking at the sales figures for Adrenalize for Def Leppard, compared to Hysteria. Like Hysteria is just phenomenal, massive monster of an album. And then the albums that were released in the 90s, well, no one cares.
You know what? And there's we'll play an interview about this because he tells the story of this kind of how this thing changed.
How the animal changes.
Yeah, and all that sort of thing. But before we play it, as you were talking then, I was thinking there was a band that sailed through all of it.
Yeah.
REM.
REM did. I think AC/DC did to some. No,
they managed to stay really relevant.
Yeah,
like who they were, a little bit mainstreamy at points.
Yeah,
but then kind of right from that sort of early to mid 80s, right through to the end of the 90s.
They didn't care, did they?
And they just sailed through all of this.
I don't think they were paying any attention.
No, I think they were just doing their thing.
I think that was just what and I think there were some bands that were just not part of that scene. Do you know what I mean? They were just kind of on the outskirts of that.
Yeah. But they weren't in any of the waves. They sort of like just sailed through it, you know.
Yeah, and they come back in resurgence as well, don't they? Some of this stuff, it kind of gets
but still did great albums all the way through it and had great songs and all that sort of thing.
We should try and find some more of those that are kind of, do you know what I mean? That have been untouched by.
We should do an REM.
We've not done one, have we?
We haven't done any REM at all.
What would you do? Monster?
Out of time. Oh, yeah. Monster, Out of Time, one of those two.
Automatic.
Oh, God, yeah, there's so many.
We did, yeah. Automatic was really big in the audiophile stores.
Yes.
When I used to go in and listen to speakers as a teenager with 20p in my pocket. They would always go and put that on.
Yeah, I should definitely know REM because they're not a band that I know a huge amount about either.
I've always liked REM.
Yeah, me too.
Again, same. They were very sensible, weren't they?
Yeah.
You can't imagine like the Faster Pussycat guys and the REM guys
getting it on load.
Yeah, you can't imagine them having a chat.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that going down very well. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I can now.
Yeah.
But like in 87, that
Yeah.
wouldn't. I don't think that would have worked very well.
Right, should we play this interview?
Let's play interview. I wanted to say tinterview then.
Faster originally broke up because basically we got dropped from Elektra and just I wanted to do different stuff anyway. I felt it was the time to do it now where I was still young and stuff was fresh in my head. So I started getting more into, I got really into Ministry, Nails and stuff when they first came out way back then. So I didn't want to sit there and do the same thing over and over again. I didn't want to be a Seattle band. I just wanted to do different things. I didn't want to sit there and do the same thing over and over again. You know, I was still growing and still learning different stuff. I didn't want to, I wasn't a master at anything. I just wanted to be, good at a lot of different stuff, and have fun with it. I wanted making music still to be fun. Our biggest radio hit definitely was House of Pain. We had Casey Kasem singing it, so that was kind of weird. When I was a little kid, I remember listening to Casey Kasem Top 40. It's basically my life, as a kid. So it's like dealing with a dad that was, nowhere around, saying he would be, but then wouldn't show up. My mom, raised me and my sisters, so it was like, and he was like a musician, so he was like my hero too. He was like my rock god, but just kept blowing us off and shit, so that's how that came about. And it came about later too, when he still was screwing with my sisters and stuff after I'd left, disappointing them, so that's how that came about. I didn't really want to write a ballad. Everybody was like, the ballads are the thing, especially back then. I was just like, I just like dirty, hard rock and roll, and I was like, but me and Greg wrote that one, so he wrote the music for that, and I wrote the lyrics and the melodies.
What came first?
Time. It's like he'd write one part, and okay, and I'd do a melody for that, and then okay, we got to go into something else. So I go write something like this, and it just kind of bounce back and forth. Started off a little rough the first couple weeks, and then all of a sudden it was just boom, and it was packed, lines down the street for years. Okay. And, yeah, it was just titties and booze. It was just killer. Just remember walking out, every time going to the club when it moved over to the Pro, it was just Steve Jones be hanging out front. Every time he'd be there first. It was Harley out there parked, and just be standing out there. No one out there, just Jonesy. And I walk up, because I'm just getting there early, get things set up, and he'd just be like, we'd just be shooting the shit, and chicks would start walking in, and Jonesy would be like, "You fucked her, didn't you? I bet you fucked her." So now every time I see Jonesy, I'm just like, "Yeah, I bet you fucked her." Constantly. And it used to be the Cat House was just a dance club constantly with no bands. And then as time goes, and it's a one night a week club, so it's like they only have a course of about 5-6 years up top, and that's if they're killing. So it just started running. Ricky started having bands play, but it was like cool. It was like Alice Cooper and Mookie Blaylock, which had turned into Pearl Jam, and just, I don't know, the list goes on, but ask Ricky more about that. But it just ran its course like all clubs do, you know, time, especially the whole music shifting. But a lot of clubs, rock clubs, can still adapt to some of that because, you know, rock's rock, whether you're wearing a flannel or you're wearing a tutu. So I don't know. I was doing a band called the Newly Deads, and we just started just doing really good gigs and getting ready to go on tour. I think we're getting ready to go out with KMFDM, and we did a couple dates with Danzig and stuff like that, and things were just, we were packing out everywhere we played, so. But then after I started doing the remix record, then we got an offer to do a Faster tour, and I go, well, if I do it, I'm doing it my way. You know, so we basically brought Brent and Greg into the Newly Deads and did the Faster tour with that. So, you know, I created both bands anyway. I created Faster, I wrote the songs, so I was like, it was my baby from the beginning. I've been with these guys for like 17 years, 18 years. I was with the other guys for 7 total. So it's a lot of difference, but I mean, I'm still friends with all of them. We get along, but it's my band. I play with who I like playing with. You know, it's like these guys I have now are just we're a better band than we've ever been. The guys I have with me we're brothers. We do anything for each other, and it's just like always have each other's backs, no matter what. We all got our stupid things about us that we all each put up with, you know. But that's what families do, and we're definitely a family. Fuck yeah, but we're still here 30 years later. It's more than I can say about most people. I'm very grateful for that too. I don't know, we just get up, do our shit, and fucking go play, you know. I'm like, fuck days off. It's like a lot of bands go, I don't know how you guys do it. It's like, I'd rather have, if we're gonna go out on the road, go out and play shows. You know, days off just cost money. Spending on this and, you know, until I throw out a hip or something like that, I'm just gonna, you know, days off just fucking suck. Just sleep when you get home. And that's why we're on the road constantly. And we're not like weekend warriors. I mean, there's a few of those more lately because the agent we got books a lot of those, but I like being out on the bus. I like having our shop because our merch and shit's like our store and stuff too. So like having our person and everything, just our house outside the venue, as opposed to being in hotels, and it's like our bus.
So he's still got that headspace and that mentality of like life on the road, which is crazy.
He's great, isn't he? Yeah. He formed the Newly Deads. I think they're kind of still going. And he goes out still with Faster. But I think it's the Newly Deads band playing Pussycat songs.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like then.
But they're excellent. I've seen him do quite a lot of stuff, and still you know, smashes it. A lot. I wouldn't say a lot. I should say not like Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Who were just failing to do. They're doing the show. They're doing the shock and awe, but the rock and roll bit's missing at the minute. It's all about, you know, I don't know what it's about. I just think they should just stop. I do. They're going to do an album, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
Oh, are they?
Nobody needs. If you're listening, no one needs a new Motley Crue album. Nobody needs it.
Let it be. Let it be what it was.
You stop. Do you know what you should do? Go and reissue Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
That's what you should do. Reissue it.
Did you just say that? Because you don't like them. You don't like reissues or reduns.
But I'd rather they did that than a new album. But that's what I think they should do. They should go and do that.
Yeah.
They should do. I'd love to. They've all done books and stuff like that. I think they've kind of like, you know, they've rinsed it already. They've not put out anything viable since 1990.
Yeah.
I think they've rinsed this as much as they can do. They're kind of verging on Dark Side of the Moon territory for me. Motley Crue are. They just
let it go.
Just stop.
leave it.
But David Gilmour was like, no one wants to hear me doing new music. Everyone wants to hear is Wish You Were Here, stuff off Dark Side, stuff off the what. No one cares anymore, and I'm fed up playing it. So, do you know, I'm not doing it. I'm going to go in the pub and play with my daughter on the acoustic guitar. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, very grown up.
Yeah.
And I wish Motley Crue. Clearly, it's just a money grab from Motley Crue, isn't it? It's just. I spotted this week. There's a guy. There's another account on X. It's similar to ours. A guy called Punt Road who like posts about music and stuff. And he got blocked by Nicky Six this week.
Really?
Because he said that he felt Mick Mars was a good stand-up guy. So Nicky Six blocked him. So there you go.
There we go.
So we've done facts.
Yeah.
We've talked about the scene. We've talked about grunge.
Yeah.
We talked about grunge and nu metal.
Yeah.
We did Korn. I was thinking we've not done much nu metal.
Yeah.
I'd love to do like Limp Bizkit and because they were bonkers, weren't they?
Yeah.
Wes Borland and stuff.
Yeah.
It's such a maligned scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That whole scene is just nu metal rubbish, right? But it wasn't. It was brilliant. It was. Didn't live very long though, did it?
No. No. But the sort of vapor trails that it left behind were. With your Linkin Parks and your Korn,
they're still there, aren't they?
They're still at it, aren't they?
It's a huge revival. Limp Bizkit are back doing festival tours.
So is it an age thing? Is it that thing as it had its 25
years? Yeah, probably is, isn't it? Probably is.
And it's now nostalgia.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that I would love us to do. I would love to do like the really grimy, grungy stuff from Birmingham, the kind of the Cathedral and like early Carcass and Napalm Death. I don't think anyone would listen to it though. I don't think that would land. If you would like that, tell us. I would do that in a heartbeat. The other scene I would love to do is that Swedish death metal scene under Scott Burns. You know, that kind of he had like Obituary and Entombed and all of that. He's a brilliant producer. So he took he's a bit like Bob Rock.
Yeah.
He heard what was happening, loved what was happening in the scene, the tape trading scene, and just thought, why does this sound so terrible? Why is nobody telling these guys how to record properly?
Yes.
And then brought them over to the US to do these to be produced. And then you ended up with this like, you know, like phenomenal stuff. There was studios in Sweden as well that had similar kind of vibe and stuff. So but I'd love to do that. That'd be wicked.
Yeah.
Where did we get to with this? Where are we?
We're just at the end. We're done.
We're
done.
At 10?
I think we're done.
I enjoyed that. I did. As scenes go, the LA scene for me is just, I don't know. It's like you're never going to relive that ever. You know, if you look at modern society and you know the being the cancel culture and what you are and aren't allowed to say, and you can offend everybody by, I mean, you know, we're not allowed to say anything anymore because you just offend somebody. And I see the positives in that, right? In that I hate the idea that we might say something and someone's listening and goes, oh, they mean me and I feel really sorry. I hate that concept.
Yeah.
But in the same time, there's just no way that LA scene could exist today.
Well, it would have all been filmed.
Yeah.
It would have all been filmed.
Yeah.
It would have all been shared.
Yeah.
It would have all been shut down.
Yeah.
And that's that, really.
But it was accepted. Everyone knew it was happening. It was. I mean, not that this is a positive thing, but this was like glorified in all of the music press. What was happening, and you know, I remember seeing a documentary of Motley Crue. I can't remember what the album they were recording. It was probably Girls, so they were recording that, and it was just about them, and it was just totally glorifying them, just being absolutely off their face. They were in bars all the time. They were never in the studio. They made a big deal about, oh, you know, we need to be in the studio, and then just not just not going. And
like me today.
Just like you, yeah. But it was, I think, you know, it's a product of its time that's just, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine it ever being redone again. And, you know, also some of the lyrics, I can't imagine you would get away with that. Not get away with it, but, you know, I just can't imagine that being a thing anymore. You know, it's a different time. But, you know, I guess, what was it now? 30, we were dealing with like 35, 36, 37 years. I mean, closing on 40 years for some of these albums. So, yeah, could come a little bit of slack, I suppose. But yeah, it's time's passed, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So what should we do next? I think should we have next week off?
Probably.
It's not that we don't like doing it. It's just I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
And you'll be singing Brightside.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah. How many? Do you know what you should have? I'm going to get you. You know, a little. You know the clickers that they have.
So I can do it every time.
Every time you do Brightside, you put it around your neck. Every time you play Brightside, you click it.
Yeah, the Brightside clicker.
And then we could run a quiz. We could run like a raffle or something.
How many times in a month?
Yeah, and then we could win something from the studio. What's in the studio we could give away?
Jammy Dodgers.
We've still got a box of Jammy Dodgers. I can't face anymore.
Can't you done with them?
It's all Buckley's fault. I love Jammy Dodgers and Buckley's ruined.
I'm with Buckley today.
Are you?
Going to see her in Derby, yeah.
Oh, are you playing with her? Are you?
Yeah, she's going to play Brightside.
She's a brilliant guitar player.
She's great.
But she makes you play the guitar.
Yeah, she didn't want to.
I love that. I just love the fact that she's just like, you do it.
Yeah.
Do you know, there was that brilliant interview you sent me about Tobias Forge from Ghost?
Yes.
Doing the same thing. He's a really great guitar player.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I know I'm a great, I know I can play the guitar, but he does it better. So, And he's literally like sitting on a sofa in a studio, kind of with his lying back, kind of going, no, you play the guitar. You do it. Yeah. And that's Emma, isn't it? She's just like, I'm too important.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not that. It's that she'd prefer me to. She likes doing the singing.
So it's like a focus thing for her, so she can focus on what she's doing.
Yeah.
Do you think she can't remember the lyrics?
Bit of that.
It's quite hard to play the guitar. Playing the guitar is really hard.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Playing the guitar and singing.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah.
It's just, but you do it.
Yeah.
And your daughter does it.
Yeah.
And you both do it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's
it's ridiculous. So
it's
hard.
like I don't understand how you can do that.
Yeah. Same as playing in a band. Playing in a band's like the hardest thing in the world.
But you just do it.
Yeah.
But I could take you and put you in any band, and you would just be like, oh, yeah, all right, and then you'd just be playing.
Yeah.
Like as if it was nothing.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's 40 years of
I suppose it is. Yeah.
Playing in bands, isn't it? But,
yeah. No, it's not easy. And the thing is, you see, you get the kids at school having a go at it.
Yeah.
They go and they're struggling and they're all falling out, and you're like, it's not easy, is it? That
it's harder than it looks.
Making jokes about.
Yeah, but it is. It's
because there are people that would like that. Say I went to school with, and they come up to you, go, "Oh, you're still doing your bands then?" Like it's some kind of like illness. You're still doing your music. It's like it's really hard.
You're still dressing up.
Yeah,
doing all that, are you?
Yeah. Oh, you can sing quite well, can't you? Yeah, it's. Hundreds of hours of practice every week.
Just
Brightside over and over again.
Is that what it is?
Once you've done it hundreds of thousands of times, then you get better.
Do you is Brightside for you like? Do you know
that idea of hours, like 10,000 hours, and you get rid of something? It's like how many Brightsides do you have to do?
Is that the way it is?
Before you can
that
do it.
Brilliant thing from Kirk Hammett. Do you know somebody was interviewing him about the tour? They were out on the 72 Seasons tour, and his interview with him, and someone was saying about the solos on 72 Seasons, and this interviewer said it was something along the lines of they're a bit boring, right?
Yeah,
and then why do you not write like Master of Puppets again?
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? And he's such a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Kirk was just like, well, he said I've been trying to do things differently on this album, right? Because if every album you do the same things, it stops feeling like music, and it feels more like music by numbers.
Yeah.
He said, I don't hear the music anymore. It's just the patterns of my finger, and I know those patterns, and that's all I'm doing. And so if you imagine being on a stage in a massive metal band, and all you're doing is like it's just the patterns of your fingers on a instrument, right? But it's not music anymore.
Yeah,
and it's not music because I've played them thousands of times.
Yeah.
And he said but the new stuff. Feels like music still. That feels to me like there's a melody there. There's something to it.
Yeah.
And because it's new and a little bit different.
Yeah.
And he said, I get that you might want, Master of Puppets version 2 or whatever your favorite album is, or you might want another Black album, but ultimately this is us evolving and doing different things. And he said, I have been like obsessed about the solos on this album, and this is me. This is from the heart. This is what I've got.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. For me, it just absolutely destroyed the interviewer. The interviewer was probably like a 12-year-old, just a bit boring. And I just think that there is, you're listening to him say that those iconic solos.
Yeah.
And also he said that he will often improvise them. So there are bits that you just can't change.
Yeah.
Because they've got to be there. He said, but like almost every night I'll play the rest differently.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just so boring to play. Because you do. People forget that when they're on the road. It's not you might see them once in a year, but Kirk's playing 200 shows.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it?
And it's tough. And the set list often. I noticed on the 72 Seasons tour, especially in North America, they were doing really cool random stuff every night. They were playing different shows. Set list was different. And they had there was a vinyl press because they've got their own vinyl press now, I'm sure. But there was a custom vinyl that was pressed for each show.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I love that. I love how they're trying to keep things interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it's for them.
I think it's got to be. Yeah,
I think it's for them as much as anything else. But playing in bands is hard. I try and play. I've got my guitar on my wall and I pull it down. Once a week I pull it down. I tried to play some stuff from Faster Pussycat this week.
Yeah.
And it sounds dead easy.
Yeah.
Bathroom Wall. It sounds dead easy, but I think I find it really difficult.
Yeah, it's hard.
What should we do next?
What album wise?
Yeah, I want to do Blackout in the Red Room, or Wasted in America, or something sleazy from that time.
Then.
What do you want to do? Shall we do one more from the LA scene?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Actually,
I want to do an REM one.
Shall we start Jan?
I'm set on that. I've set that in my mind.
Shall we start January by REM? Where? Yeah, no, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of leap off from the new year.
Yeah.
Into a new scene.
And if we find within the next week we've got a few minutes to do another one where we could do an LA one, we can do another LA one. We could do a one. We could. The days when we used to be on local radio, and we used to get told, oh, you can't do this, you can't play that, and you're not playing enough like female bands, you're not playing enough bands from Nigeria, and we were like, oh, I don't know what we do, so we would obsess about what we were doing, and now it's brilliant. It's just wing it. I would love to do some more LA scene stuff. I am going to do a poll. Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some. Let's we can only have 4 in a poll, I think, on X, but I'll do an X poll, and let's see. I definitely want to do a Love Hate album next. So I'm not going to put Love Hate in there. We'll pick one of those, but it'll be Wasted in America or Blackout or something like that. Yeah. And then I think what we can do is I'll do a poll of some of the others. And if you love this scene, there's a couple of great accounts on X. There's the Hair Metal Guru, and Hair Band Basement as well. So check those two out because they're just obsessed with this. They've both got YouTube channels, and they're like, if it's not a hair band, they're not. It's rubbish, and they're lovely, and they keep recommending like hair bands from the scene tours as well. They're really cool. So if you like this stuff, definitely check out those guys. I think we'll do Love Hate next, and then we'll do a poll for one more like LA scene band, and then we'll dive into a new scene with REM.
Yeah, okay.
That's excellent.
Let's do that then.
I feel great. I feel like I've purged, or I feel like my brain's all just splattered over the podcast now.
Yeah, we've got it now.
It's all done. I've spent.
Right, let's play you out with a song. It's the one that I really like, so I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, I know what this is. I know. Hang on, it is No Room for Emotion.
That's it, No Room for Emotion.
This is really bluesy.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
It's really cool. It doesn't. The tonality fits on the record, but it's just
a different beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a swagger.
Yeah,
there's a lovely video of them playing this, and the bending of the strings and stuff on the Gibson. It's just properly like rock and roll swagger when they do this live. Epic. Great choice.
Cool. See you later.
Oh, have a Christmas.
Christmas? Yeah,
I think do that.
New Year, probably. We might see you before then, might not.
It's just the crappiest podcast. I bet Stephen Wilson's like, yes, we're going to do this next week. Stephen bloody Wilson. Who am I thinking of? Who is it? Who's the there's a comedian, somebody Wilson. Kevin bloody Wilson.
Kevin bloody Wilson. Ah.
So Kevin Wilson if you're not familiar with Kevin Wilson, Kevin Wilson just swearing, an old school comedy that was allowed in the 80s.
Yeah.
And not only would get you cancelled, it'd probably get you arrested today. So it's that kind of comedy, it was on the ragged edge of what was acceptable in the 80s.
Wow, right. Okay,
where everything was acceptable in the, so it was, his jokes, and I remember hearing his jokes in the 80s thinking, oh my God, how did he get away with that? But that's when I hear Stephen Wilson, I think that's why I've been saying, because he's Kevin Bloody Wilson. That's his stage name.
Right, yeah.
So that's why I'm saying Stephen Bloody Wilson.
Oh,
to be clear, don't get Stephen Wilson and Kevin Wilson confused. They're very different dudes.
Right, see you later.
Have a Christmas. See you next time.